everybody, and welcome to another episode of Haunt Talk. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing one of our bucket list haunted houses that we, got to go to this year, which is Reaper's Revenge. If you're unfamiliar, Reaper's Revenge is known for being a very long haunt. It is a hayride mixed with multiple haunted houses with different themes and all of that kind of stuff. And we went into this one pretty blind. With that being said, we hope you stick around and enjoy our review. Yes, welcome to our review of Reaper's Revenge. As I said in the little intro there, Reaper's Revenge, again, is a multi-themed haunt thing. Now, you can't really choose the order that you go into things. It's a hayride that drops you off for 2 haunts. You get on the hayride, and then it drops you off at 2 more haunts, and then you are done. There isn't too much to talk about as far as the midway goes. There is kind of like a midway, but it's at the end.
Yeah.
I would assume you could probably go do the stuff before you get in line.
It looked like there might have been a path because we didn't actually we had actually bought VIP tickets.
It's like express pass, yeah.
So we weren't really sure what the general admission line looked like when we got there, but it looked like people were going back there, and I could see like a couple things back there, so I'm assuming you probably could go around the corner and go into that area and just play in the midway if you wanted to. Say you were like a chaperone, something like that.
And it was kind of cool. So, like, we'll talk about quickly just experience of, like, getting to Reaper's Revenge, and then we'll get into our actual review in that. So, when you pull up, you can't see anything. Like, you can't even really see much of anything when you're in line, but when you pull up, I mean, it looks very underwhelming, actually, because it's such a giant field, and you can kind of see some security tents. And so you walk up, you go through security, all of that. They make you sign waivers. Like, there's a big tent, you have to sign a waiver and hand it to someone before they let you go through security. So that's the first thing you do. And there's this cool, like, little path you just kind of walk until you get to, like, the part where you get in line, where there's not a lot, but it's like, I think it's like a river or a little lake.
There's like a little lake next to it, and they had a really cool, huge, like, Reaper statue looming over this lake.
I think it was an animatronic. I'm pretty sure it was moving.
It might have been. And then the lake was just covered in like low-lying fog. The path was foggy.
It was all like purple lit.
Yeah. And then they had a really creepy slow version of Don't Fear the Reaper playing. And it got you into that atmosphere that like this is spooky stuff.
Yeah, it was like real spooky atmosphere, yeah. And then you walk up, get in line, and they kind of corral you into the hayride. You said you can only see like part of the top of one of the haunts like as you're in line. So that's basically that. There wasn't much like food and drink. I think there might have been some back, but like when we first walked up, we didn't see any. So we didn't like partake in any of that. But that being said, now we're finally going to get into the review, which as always means we must refer to the Book of the Dead. Book of the Dead. Book of the Dead. Book of the Dead. Alright, so as always, first we are going to start with sets and props, and we're going to just kind of go in order for these categories, I guess for the most part of like how we came across things, and we're not going to be able to talk about everything, because this is a very long haunt, which we'll talk more about in value, but So you get on the hayride, and as soon as the hayride starts, you like go down this pretty steep hill on the hayride, and then it turns the corner, and then you see like the first scene kind of looming in the distance, which was like this kind of like castle facade. It had like a Grim Reaper thing like on top of it, and it was really cool because it actually looked like it was an inside section, but it really wasn't, as they had all these like floating candles, and it just kind of looked like this like, I don't know, like, it's hard to describe. I really wish there was like more video footage of this place, but they were pretty strict on no filming of any kind. But it looked really cool.
Yeah, it was really pretty. It was just like very atmospheric, and like you felt like you weren't supposed to be there kind of feeling.
Yeah. And he gives his little spiel, the like Grim Reaper prop thing, and then you go through that. And then that was cool too, like when you're going under all these candles. It kind of reminded me of like the dining hall, like Harry Potter or something. Because I'm sure they're of course they are. They're on string, but you can't see it because it's dark out, obviously. Yeah. But there's also like a spirit, animatronic puppet thing flying above you, holding a candle, which is really cool.
That was really cool.
They had a really pretty cemetery scene, which we're going to talk more about in actors because there was something very unique involving a disco ball with that. But like I said, there are going to be some scenes that are actually going to be talked about in actors because the actor presence was kind of what made the scene a thing.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some of that because this place, I mean, there's so many scenes and so many actors, but. And then the Pumpkin Hill was really cool. I really like. I don't know. I'm just going to call it Pumpkin Hill.
I think that's appropriate because at one point the wagon had to go up this kind of a steep hill, and we just get totally surrounded by all these really cool pumpkins. They were like far back into the woods. They were up high into the trees. There were animatronics with like stick arms that were just kind of like grabbing at you. It was probably one of the best uses of pumpkins I've seen in a really, really long time.
Right. And there weren't really actors as you go up the hill because it's a pretty steep hill that you're climbing, but like there were puppets. There's even one of those big pumpkin puppets with like the arms that would come flying out and stuff. Which props and stuff will touch you here because again, obviously we'll talk about this more in actors, but actors are also allowed to touch you here. So you're not all here, even on the hayride, you're not even safe from the prop because I remember there was like a couple sections where like spiders would drop from the ceiling and stuff like that and just whack you a little bit. Not going to hurt you, but. Let's see here. There was another scene that was really unique and cool was, and again, we'll kind of have to talk about this a little bit more in actors, but the Alice in Wonderland scene.
Yeah.
It was one of the trippiest things I've been through, and the way it was lit, there were so many lights going up through it. It was very bright, and you could see it from a distance as you were kind of like getting closer to it, and they had one of the trippiest things I've seen on a like a hayride, or really, because I don't understand what it was exactly, but like there was this tunnel of like pulled screen, but there were projections on it, but I have no idea what the projections were besides trippiness.
They were, they were just like real trippy looking, like, you know how like when you get like an old school computer and it's got like the weird screensavers that just kind of do things all over. That's pretty much what the feeling it was giving me was. It was just one of those weird, just very trippy looking screensavers.
And they were definitely going through the trippy part about the Alice in Wonderland because of like they had like the mushrooms everywhere, and they did. I guess I'll kind of talk about this here, although it probably could go in actors as well. They had this effect that when the people were talking, it was like echoing back and forth all through these speakers. And it was really weird and trippy, like, because it was really kind of maddening because, like, their voices were delayed but repeating and echoing. It was weird. And then there was a cool, like, gag where, like, there's a giant, like one of those people that hold the cards, and the Queen of Hearts was on one of those projectors, and then the card, like, dropped, and it was, like, a cool scare and stuff. There's more probably scenes that we're forgetting on the first part of the hayride, but again, like you can experience it for yourself. We have to not make this review too long. So you get off the first time of the hayride, and one of the freakier scenes that's on here, which is this police shed. And there are some really cool effects in there. Again, I think it's probably better to talk about most of this in actors because pretty much everything that happened there was actor oriented.
Very actor driven in there,
Yeah. And then the first like walk through haunt is the Lost Carnival is what they called it. And now this is probably one of the coolest carnival themes I've ever seen in a haunt.
Yeah.
For one, it was very long. And it's a mixture of outside and inside sections. But there's just some really cool parts of. You start off by walking across this rickety bridge that would literally just go like this, and it was actually over, I think, like a tiny little river. Or
it was,
a little bit of water. So it was actually built out of necessity, but that was something with this place, is everything had to be a little different, a little weird, and I really liked that. But yeah, you walked over that, you went through all these like carnival games section. They had a whole ass Ferris wheel back there. Like you could go on it, but you had to like walk pretty close to it, which is cool. And it was running.
Yeah, it was running. There was also a little merry-go-round with like these janky horses on it, and that was kind of slowly spinning as well. Just the way they had the carnival games set up is like they kept getting closer and closer to you as you were walking through it, and it was just really like claustrophobic, and you're just like. And again with the actors, because again it was a kind of an actor-driven area, they were barking at you trying to get you to play these games, and you're just like, oh, get away. Oh,
well, and there's buttons for some you could hit, and the one squirt with water. There's one I didn't hit that because it wasn't an actor that made me, but it was on some kind of machine thing, and there's a big red button. I'm sure it would do something to you if you had to probably spray with air or something. But yeah, that whole area was really cool. There was so much here. It was really hard for us to really remember everything we went through because of how big this haunt was. But yeah, that whole area was really cool. The next one you go through is a 3D house called Delirium. Now, this one is one of the best, like, 3D houses we've been through.
Yes.
Nothing out of the ordinary necessarily what you wouldn't expect in this one for the most part, but whatever paint and stuff they used really gave a depth effect.
Oh my gosh.
It's really trippy.
It was really trippy.
There was this really cool section which, there's these 2 hallways back to back where they have these, like, animatronic clown hands come out. But it's a very narrow hallway, and they come out, and you pretty much, to get past them, you have to put your side against the other wall, and of course there's a real person there grabbing you. But that was really cool. I like that. And then the other side did it as well, except I don't think there was a person grabbing on that side, but you had to, like, push up against the wall. And there were some, like, weird things you had to push yourself through and stuff like that.
Yeah. There was, like, of course, the big tubes hanging. There was, these weird
I don't know how to describe
bag
them.
Things.
Like the plastic things you had to, like, pull apart and kind of, like...
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know, but they were weird.
I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah,
it
I don't either.
like almost like a Kong toy, but, like, connected together. It was really weird.
Yeah, they push your way through it. Then after that, after you get through Delirium, then you get back on that second part of the hayride. Now, the second part of the hayride is a lot shorter. There were still some cool scenes and scares. There was a cool gas station scene. One part was really cool as you're driving along. It looks like just a pitch black forest, and all of these red lights, all these red eyes light up.
Yeah.
And there's a really good scare, like, close to the end of it with, I don't exactly know what it was, because, like, one thing I guess we didn't talk about, how the hayride's structured. It's basically a U, like, shaped in a U, and you face the inside. So, like, the people, on the right are viewing everything at the left, and vice versa, of course. So you have to kind of, like, turn and look to see what's behind you. And, of course, behind me was, like, the giant light and Arugal horn that happened after that, which made me holler a lot, and I think made more people on the hay wagon laugh at me. Then the last scene on the hayride was, like, we just call it the Reaper Shed. It was kind of like the Grim Reaper kind of saying bye to you.
Yeah.
And then, oh wait, there was one thing that I forgot to mention in here. There was this really freaky, like, slaughterhouse building they took you through.
Oh, yeah.
And there was this messed up, like, it was supposed to be like a mangled corpse. And I'm like, I thought it was an animatronic at first because its limbs are just flailing about. And then as you're leaving, you look up and you see there's actually was an actor in a hole that had all the strings and was, like, just going crazy with it and just controlling this puppet directly, which I thought was neat. But I mean, it really did look like someone's body that was just ripped apart and they just hung it up with strings.
Yeah.
That was really cool. But then back to that last section, there was the spider that came down. There was, I think, a wall that must have moved because then all of a sudden the lights came back on. There's a giant animatronic out of there.
Yeah. I thought there was going to be one behind us, but it came out of that wall because, I noticed that there was, like, a sliding wall on that one side. Because, there was other things that kept popping out every time the lights came in and out and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then you get off the hayride for the final time. You're now done with the hayride, and you have... There's 2 more haunts left. Now, the next one is actually optional. It's the only one that's, like, you can just bypass this one if you want, and there's a reason for that. They're a blackout haunt, which, it's funny, because we just did a blackout haunt the night before this at Dorney Park.
Yeah.
And it was kind of freaky just because I don't like blackout haunts. This one was horrifying.
Oh my gosh.
Now, there's not much to talk about in sets and prop for this, so honestly, I think we'll just kind of... Because there's not really too much to talk about with actors either, because, again, it's blacked out. It's just sensory deprivation. There's all these crazy loud noises playing just everywhere you are, just these crazy heavy bass tones that vibrate your whole body. I mean, it is panic-inducing.
It really was. I, unfortunately, got to lead our
Kim
entire
gets to lead
group.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just Josh and I.
We were hoping to get conga lined in this one, but of course we didn't.
Yeah, they cut us off right in front of me, and I'm like, oh, dang it. The walls were wet.
A lot of them were, yeah.
Which really freaked me out because I was doing this.
I think it might have maybe rained. I don't actually know.
I don't know if it was on purpose or not.
Yeah.
But it was really freaky because I was, of course, trying to do this and they actually had a sign before you get in there that said no hats or eyeglasses.
Oh, yeah. I forgot we had to take our glasses off.
So we had to take our eyeglasses off and put them in our pockets because they did actually, like, there were actors inside there, and they were grabbing at you and stuff. And a lot of times they were, like, just grabbing you, like, randomly on your head and stuff like that. I don't know if they had, like, night vision goggles or anything like that, or if they were just kind of reaching for stuff,
I don't know.
Whatever. But it was really wonky. The walls were just, it was just so...
Yeah. It was a lot.
Crazy, yeah.
That one was a lot. And then you go into the final one, which is Sector 13. Now this one's kind of like military contamination, that kind of thing. A lot of really cool, weird stuff in there. There's again, so much hard to talk about a lot of it without talking about actors because, which I'm just excited to get to that part. But this one, a lot of it's what you expect for the theming wise, but there's like a weird section you have to like go upstairs, and there's another like rickety great bridge that you have to walk that I think lifted up at one point, which kind of freaked me out. Like it had like a bit of a lift to it in some way. There's like this hallway towards the end of like tons of like not fog, like air cannon type things that were shooting you. It's like loud, there's just banging everywhere, just a whole hallway of that, which was just intense. What else? Is there anything? Me and Kim did get yeah, I guess, no, we'll talk about that in actors when me and Kim got separated, but we did get separated. There was like a cool boiler room scene, and then the end scene was cool. This didn't happen to Kim, because me and Kim ended up finishing this haunt not together.
Yeah.
Which, again, I think maybe we'll talk about more in actors, but yeah, me and a stranger had to like finish it, and the last room for me, there was a big puppet that came out. I got shot in the back with the air cannon, and then there's this guy that was above me, which you could see him in the line. He had like, I thought it was just like a complete dummy gun, but I'm assuming it was an aerosol gun or something, because I was getting like machine gun air cannon, that or there was something else. I didn't look up, I just kind of ran. But yeah, this is just one of the most beautiful, especially hayrides we've ever seen. Yeah. And the haunts, they had an old school feel to them, but in a good way. Mm-hmm. They were still really detailed, but at times it did kind of have that almost home haunt vibe to it, but in a really charming, best way possible thing. Yes. It was this weird mix of like really high level pro haunt and then a touch of old school.
Yeah, and I think that touch of old school, what we mean is like where it's more like they're not focusing on the actual sets and stuff. It's more of like the actors engaging you.
And like they have a lot of really cool sets, but there are times where it's like this is a painted like wood wall, like woodboard wall, which is like, but the way they did it was, I don't know, everything about this place is so unique, and it's really hard to describe exactly how it's unique, so I would just highly recommend going to it. But sets and props, we were giving a 10, just phenomenal, and so many things to look at. I would love to go again, because I've already forgot so much I saw, because there's so much happening, and moves us into actors. They're so terrifying, I couldn't even pay attention to half the scenes I was in.
Oh my gosh.
They said on like a little video when we entered, there's 170 actors, which is wild to me, and I didn't believe that. I believe that after going through it. I think they were running like almost a full staff that night, at least the night we were there. Holy crap.
They were just everywhere. Like, quite literally. Yeah. Like, I've never been on a hayride where there's been so many actors in every scene.
Oh, yeah. It was just absolutely wild. And again, the fact they're allowed to touch you on this makes it so much better. Now, again, we're not going to talk about every single actor. We would be here all day, but we're going to like talk about some highlights. The first big highlight, which was one of the most unique things that I've ever seen in a haunt in general. So you're passing through the cemetery, and as you're passing, at first I'm like, this scene could be done better is what I thought at first, because you're passing through and the zombies aren't really trying to jump scare you. They're just kind of like slowly coming to life. And you're like, okay, here they come, and then they get on the hay wagon, and they're kind of touching you and stuff. And then we get right past the cemetery, like right past. And I look up, and it's dark, but I see a disco ball. And the zombie was in front of me, and I think he was doing something to me, like playing with my hair or something. And then he looked up at the disco ball, and then a light shined on the disco ball. And all of a sudden, Thriller starts playing, and all the zombies just stop what they're doing, all like they just got possessed, all form a formation, and do the whole Thriller dance.
They did the entire Thriller dance. It was
and
great.
The tractor stopped at this point on the disco ball. Yeah. And then at the end, to top it off, the guy, the one that was, under the disco ball to begin with, gets back up on the hayride, because again, you sit like it's a stage, and does a split, and then all the lights shut off, and then
he crawls off, and off we go. Yeah, it was probably the most unique thing I've ever seen on a hayride.
Oh, it was
ever.
amazing.
It was amazing.
It was so cool. There's Freddy Krueger, which is really cool, and he kind of hurt a little bit, but he took his like claws and really just ran down the aisle, and just obviously they're not really sharp, but they're still blunt, so you got getting your knuckle, like my hand.
Yeah,
was
I
up
got
on
my
knee.
knuckle hit. I'm like,
I think that's why it hurt. It didn't hurt my leg, but I was also wearing shorts. But yeah.
Yeah.
So that was fun. There was this guy in front of the one that was marking people with like black soot on their forehead. Mm-hmm. We pretty much already talked about the Alice in Wonderland people for the most part, but like a lot of it was projections. But there were actors in there, like I said, and their voices were being projected all around the thing. But yeah, like lots of interaction. There was this, and we didn't talk about this scene, but there actually was a playground scene on the first part of the hayride as well, like a ghost playground. And you're like, oh, there's all these ghosts. And then you turn the corner, and there's probably like 20 plus bodies of children hanging on trees.
Yeah.
And then a guy in a dress comes with an axe and just kind of is really creepy. He was like rubbing the axe all over my face and stuff. I wasn't the only one that got the axe in the face, just kind of like rubbing on my neck and that. He was just creepy. I don't know, because it was really dark in that area too. There really wasn't much light except just a little bit enough to see the hanging bodies. And it was just like this real weird ethereal music, if I remember right, playing there. It like wasn't loud. It was just creepy.
Yeah.
And then we got off of the hayride, and this is what brought us into that security room. And this was a really cool scene.
Yeah. So it was basically they stopped the wagon because they heard that people were being disruptive to the haunt.
Yeah, being
people.
too handsy, as the security guard told us.
Yeah, so they stopped our wagon and they wanted to interrogate us. So they get us in this little shed, and it just was the most freakiest.
It was really freaky.
Really freaky. They kept blinking the lights on and off, and the guy kept moving. And then at one point, there was more than just him in there.
There's like these weird bondage monsters.
Yeah, there was. So, if you haven't seen Pulp Fiction, it was kind of going around the whole Zed and the Gimp and that kind of thing, but not the end result part. But it was just really weird and freaky, and you're just like,
yeah,
oh my god, like, yeah, it was really cool.
Because the security guard had a whole demeanor about him where he had his like boots propped up, and then he's like on top of the table and the lights shut off, and then he's somewhere else, and it was really weird. But then at the end, when they shut off and turn back on again for the final time, then he's just sitting back down with his like boots crossed, and he's like, "What's wrong with you guys?" or something funny like that, like nothing happened. It was humorous, but really freaky because the room was super small. It was basically just a little shipping container.
It was a shipping container.
But they had it really set up nice, and there it was freaky. And then after that, that's when you go down and enter Carnival. There's just so many actors in there. Like I said, there was the ones trying to get us to play carnival games, but it was just like every step you took, there was one popping out. You look here, and then there's one there. I mean, it was just everywhere. And there was a lot of good like interaction scares. Like one that got me really good is when we were in Delirium. It was one of those guys. He was just like a spandex suit with like the neon paint splattered over him. And I kind of saw him, and he kind of walked up, and I'm like, oh, he didn't fail to scare me. And he's like this, and he points beside me, and then I turn, and another one comes jutting out, and I hollered.
And leaped.
I don't remember if that's what we have. One of them made me leap. I haven't screamed so much, and Kim screamed a lot too.
Oh my gosh, I did too.
There's just so many actors, and they're just everywhere. You couldn't breathe.
They just had like such good spots, and even like you thought that they'd be in a spot, like there was a boo hole, and you're like, oh, there's gonna be someone in there, and they would be on the other side.
Right, like I mean,
it was crazy
in all angles too, which makes it good. Which also reminded me a little bit of the Hoochie in that. A lot of the way that this haunted house scares you, reminds me of the Hoochie. But like after we like left the vortex tunnel, there was like a little hole under there, and someone reached out and grabbed my leg and stuff. They were very grabby, but like they weren't like crazy intense with it. I wouldn't say like as intense as Blood Prisoner Triple Lake Slaughterhouse. But they definitely did grab you quite a bit. Like, you got a lot of interaction, but it wasn't as rough as those because you can't opt it out of this. If you that's part of the reason you signed the waiver.
Right.
One thing that's really cool I will say about this place is all the actors did a really good job of breaking groups up. There's multiple points because they even tell you like if an actor seems like they're trying to stop you, they are. Let them, because we're trying to make the show better. And I will say
they did.
Even though we caught up to people a couple times, we would instantly like lose them every time somehow. And even when we were behind them, there's so many actors it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Because they were because I mean, there's a lot that I would see. Like I would turn, see one wait, and I'm like, oh, they're going to get Kim. And then as I'm thinking that, I'm getting got right there.
Yeah. Like
right in front of me, on the right side. And it was just constantly like that through like every single haunt to the point where it was getting like exhausting in a good way. Like we were starting to get like really hot just because so much screaming and jumping and just it was
well
great.
Blackout didn't help. Like that made me so hot. Like I was just so sweaty afterwards because it was just so mind-boggling.
Yeah.
But the actors did touch a lot more in that one than I felt like in the other ones for sure.
Well, because you couldn't see them, and like there was a couple that had jump scares with lights behind them, but mostly they kept the lights off for most of it. There was a couple times where they would use like lights to get you, which also helped blind you so you couldn't see things even more. But yeah, it was really intense because in the darkness you can't tell when someone's about to pull your hair or push your head or grab your arm or whatever they might do to you. And man, oh, that was a really freaky haunted house. I would say, you know, if like sensory overload really, really freaks you out and like you're prone to panic attacks, I would say maybe skip this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very good. It does exactly what it sets out to, and it doesn't lie to you what it's trying to do.
No.
But I mean, that's why they had the bypass and they have a warning like this is really weird. But yeah, and then there's a Sector 13 one, which this is one we had the most probably actual interaction with actors.
Yes. I felt like this one they actually purposely would separate people because
it was chaos.
Yeah. So like even like at the beginning they corral you into rows and they take that whole row in.
Like a group of like 12 people they sent in the first room.
Yeah.
And
it was like 12 to 14.
And then they'd split it into two groups of 2 in the first room because there was like a guy that he was making us look at our fingers because to see if we were infected, and he looked at my fingernails, looked at me and went, ugh. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks, dude.
Yeah, because he actually did say, remember he said, hey, make sure you put him in the freezer. And where did you end up?
Oh, was he talking about me?
Yeah.
Oh.
He said, hey, tell so-and-so to put him in the freezer.
Yeah, and so it's really weird. And again, there's so many actors. We're not going to talk about all of them. We're going to talk about definitely these 2 key moments. So the first one that me and Kim got split up, yeah, I was put in a freezer. I don't even know who, but someone grabbed me and put me in there. And there was like a freaky actor, and it was me and this other girl that I didn't know. And then Kim got put in a chair. And what did they do to you in the chair?
He got real close to me. He was looking at me. He wanted to look at he was shining a light into my eyes to see if I was infected. He told me my eye was starting to like bubble with red and that I needed to see the doctor right away for a cure. And then he sent me back in. And then I did see the doctor later. Which, we got separated yet again.
Yeah.
I got pulled back and put on a table.
Right. And in the freezer, nothing really happened much to me in there. There was an actor in there, but I kind of quickly escaped and saw where Kim was and kind of hid there for her. And then later, we did get separated again. And then I had to finish the haunt. And weirdly, it was with the same girl I was locked in the freezer with.
I was by myself.
Yeah. But yeah, so what did they, because they took Kim and they like made her hop up on an operating table.
They had
and then they made us leave.
Yeah, they had an operating table and she made me literally lay completely on the table. And she actually got up on top of me. And literally my nose was touching her nose. And she was just saying a whole bunch of spooky, creepy stuff about how, like, I was infected. And she had, like, this really weird accent. Like, it was kind of like a New York accent, kind of like that. And she was just, like, real close. She made me open my mouth and say, ah, and all this other weird shit. And then she's like, yeah, you're gonna need the cure, but we got our degrees online, so we can't help you. There you go. And she sent me on my way.
Yeah, there was a bit of humor as well in the actors, which was cool. And then on the way out when I wasn't with Kim with that other girl, there was this like really tall, like heavy set guy that so it was like this weird room where it was like a laser grid and there was like a thing in like the middle. I don't know, it was like a container or something in it, but he like walked on the path I was going, just came out of like the darkness and just kept belly bouncing me back and made me go the other side, because even the girl behind me was just like, oh my god, he literally just bounced me. I'm like, okay, and so I ran the other way. And then one guy I didn't mention is at the very beginning of Delirium, there's this weird, he almost looked like Art the Clown, but not quite. Like Art the Clown, but a little more demony, but he was like doing weird things to Kim, like he put his like nose right up and was like sniffing her, and then he was like sniffing me, and then he like put his like mouth right to my ear, and it's just like, I don't even know, making all these weird gargly clicking noises.
I forgot about that.
It was really weird. Well, and the people in front of us, he literally took the guy's like girlfriend, friend, whatever, and like was like kind of like dancing with her and kind of like tilted her back and like put his nose like almost on hers. I mean, like less than an inch apart, like he was about to kiss her. It's really weird and uncomfortable, but like, yeah. But yeah, oh my gosh, the actors. Again, we could talk about them all day, but I mean, I think you get the gist. They were amazing. Obviously, we're giving them a 10.
Yes.
So now we're going to kind of probably breeze through these last couple categories because, especially, so the next one's scare factor, which, if you weren't paying attention to the rest of the review, it's very, very scary, at least what we experienced.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say, maybe something like Blood Prison might be technically like scarier, before you get into your like crazy haunts that aren't really haunts, or just torture houses, like for normal haunted houses. But the thing about this one makes it so freaky is it's so long.
Yeah.
But I will say the hayride breaking the two, like starting off and then breaking the 2 haunted house or the 4 haunted houses up is nice, because obviously the hayride's a lot less scary.
Yeah,
like,
it kind of gives you a break. Yeah, it kind of gives you like a little bit of a break so that you're not just like constant like anxiety ridden.
Right. It is still one of the scarier haunted hayrides I've been to. It might be and again, I mean, I take this lightly, but it probably is the scariest haunted hayride I've been on. Just because, and I say lightly because, like, for one, there's just not that many good haunted hayrides around us.
Yeah.
And most of them don't touch. The only real hayride I can think of that did touch was Bates Motel.
Yeah.
But that one's been a long time ago. But this one, because of the fact they can touch and they're so interactive, it definitely, kind of will freak you out a little bit. But yeah, all the things we said make scare factor, in my opinion, a 10. And again, we're giving it a 10 not because it's the absolute most scariest haunt that's ever existed, but for being as long as it is and what it is, I think the scare factor was just perfect for what it was. I don't think it needed to be less scary, and I don't think it needed to be more scary. I think it was right where it needed to be.
Yeah.
Now, value. Now, this is something leading into the place we are concerned about because, and I have it pulled up here, so a general admission ticket is $59, so let's, say $60, and then a VIP ticket is $89. And I don't know if it fluctuates at all. Okay, yeah, it says, so on certain nights, October 11th, 18th, and 25th are $69, and then for the VIP on those same nights, it's $99 instead of $89, so a $10 increase in those nights. So obviously $60 for a general admission is very expensive. So obviously I time pretty much every haunt we go through unless I forget, but this one, we were back there for an hour and 40 minutes. Now, I'd say probably 20 minutes of that was the little different lines we were in and stuff like that. None of the lines were long, but again, you're back there so long, there are a couple different ones where they're separating you. So you're still looking at least in, an hour and 15 to an hour and 30 minutes of pure haunt time between the hayride and that, which is insane. And the quality that you get, we decided, I think value's a 10 out of 10 because, especially with the amount of actors there are.
Yeah.
And I assume they're charging more probably because they're paying the actor. And again, I have no idea if this is true, but I'm assuming they're like paying the actors maybe a little more to be able to have so many actors back there and show up. I'm assuming. And all the other amazing stuff they have back there. But like, I don't mind paying the price when you see the money you're paying going directly into the show you're experiencing.
Yes.
And I don't have a problem. If you haven't went because of the price, you should go. Because again, this is like 3 haunts in one. Honestly, it really truly is.
It really is.
And so obviously, overall, we gave a 10 to. Everything else got a 10. This is one of the most perfect, well-rounded haunts we've ever been to. One of my favorites. I'd like to go again before I say if it's like my number 1 favorite or something like that, since we've only experienced it once. And it also just helped kind of going in, not seeing any footage, anything like that. I saw, I think I saw the trailer that them themselves did. And I've only, seen a couple reviews that kind of talk about some of the stuff we did. But not seeing any of it and really knowing exactly how it's laid out helped, I think, with
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, have you guys been to Reaper's Revenge? I'm really curious to know if, you guys have liked it. Make sure you also check out the video that should have come out right before this on the Dorney Park. That one's going to be like a vlog review, which should be really cool. And then we also, after Reaper's Revenge, visited one that's only 10 minutes away called Circle of Screams. And they actually sell a combo ticket for Reaper's Revenge and Circle of Screams. So make sure to watch that video to find out if you should also attend that one or not. But yes. Thank you for watching the video. Make sure you're liking, make sure you're subscribing, and make sure you're ringing that notification bell
Ding, 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 ding.
so you don't miss any future upcoming videos. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.